Okay, so tonight's class is on insight practice, or introspection meditation, whatever we want to call it. I'm settled on a name for it yet, but essentially this is allowing our inner knowing, our inner intuition, inner instinct, whatever we want to call it, to play its part in helping us to heal, be more peaceful, make sense of things. And I think understanding brings a lot of opportunity to forgive and to develop compassion. Some stuff seems crazy, but actually often there's a repeating pattern in scenarios and in our own lives. If we start to notice what these patterns are, we can then release ourselves from them if we choose to. We become at choice. We can say, oh, that thing's going on again. In meditation, I've noticed that this plays out, or this is connected to that, or this feeling kicks in when this is said. It gives us a chance to not necessarily just stop it, but initially it might just help us to watch it and watch us and the thing going on. And in that separation, that's freedom. That's the start of freedom. It's actually the end of freedom as well, start and end of freedom. Because it gives us the opportunity to be in it, but not in it. Be in the situation, be of the situation, but be watching the situation. Now, an obvious question to that is, well, how can that be the case? How can we be in something and be watching something if we've only got one mind? One mind can't do these both things. That's because the mind isn't one thing. The mind can be sliced up into loads of different categories, types. We've got conceptual mind that thinks about ideas and can philosophize and can do the simplest thing, like work out the price of a kettle in a shop or 2 kettles. This is conceptual mind. Non-conceptual mind is when our thoughts stop coming. We start to witness the non-conceptual mind because there's no concepts, there's no names, thoughts, ideas. There's just space, and we can notice this for a moment in meditation between one thought coming and the next. There's a little gap. This gap, this space is non-conceptual mind. There's also sleeping mind. There's waking mind. There are different ways we can categorize mind. Deep sleep, where there's nothing going on in it. There are different kinds of minds. There's anger, there's craving, there's jealousy, there's joy, there's anticipation, doom, all these different states of mind, all these different feelings, different kinds of thoughts, agreeable thoughts, disagreeable. So our mind can watch itself. It has parts. This is freedom. This is the opportunity we have. Now, from watching this, what we get is we get something beyond mindfulness. We start to get self-awareness. We may already have some self-awareness, but we improve and expand our self-awareness. We start to notice the way things affect us and the way we affect things. We start to notice our impact on others and ourselves. We might think, when I say this, it tends to shut people down. I don't want it to shut them down, but the way I phrase things, my body language, my tone of voice, it seems to not have the desired effect. Right, well, I've noticed that now. I can continue doing that. I'll accept that. I could try something different. So we start to develop more self-awareness. And in noticing feelings more subtly, we start to develop more self-awareness, because sometimes we don't know why we are irritated. Sometimes we don't know why we're motivated. And if we start to notice things more subtly in our mind, we'll become aware of what creates impulses in us, what creates impulses and drives and desires and aversions. So it's an absolute wonderful thing to be able to have parts to our mind. And if we didn't have parts, something that doesn't have parts can't function. That kettle there can't function without parts. If it was one object, it couldn't function. Any mechanical thing has parts. Any atom has parts within it. If an atom had no parts, it couldn't function, couldn't move. Okay, so we'll start by doing the body relaxation and the breathing meditation, and then I'll guide you through some insight practice. I'll just pause the recording for now so I don't repeat this bit, which we do each week, and then I'll start recording when we get to the insight bit. Okay, so now we're going to do a little bit of insight meditation or introspection meditation. Now we've relaxed our mind. Allow whatever needs to come up right now to be looked at to come up. Our mind, our heart has a natural wish to unburden, to release, to heal, to relax, to let go. Like a ball of knotted wool, it wants to find where the next thing is to be released. So allow your mind, your deeper need to heal, allow it to talk to you. Bring up whatever thought or image or feeling is ready to be witnessed, watched, understood. Now, we can toggle between thoughts and feelings. So if you have a feeling, notice what sort of things it might be wanting to say, what's coming out of it in terms of thoughts. And if what's come up as thoughts or an image, what sort of emotions are linked to it. So we're toggling between our head and our heart. We're toggling between our head and our heart. See what's underneath. So you may have a certain feeling like anger, and the thoughts that come out of it may be towards a certain person or people. So we check out these thoughts. Does it tally with anger? If it does, then what's underneath these thoughts? What maybe are we lacking in our boundaries or assertiveness? Or do we need to apologize? Or, whatever is in there, we can start to unpack a little bit. And then maybe we go back to the other thing, from the head to the heart or heart to the head, and we can emphasize things. We can let things stew, become bigger, and then we can look inside of them more at what's underneath that and what's underneath the next thing. Sometimes we just get to a feeling that needs to be just sat with because there's nothing underneath it, or we're not sure, so we sit with it. Maybe there are some thoughts and we just sit with them. We do this with this space between us and the thought and the feeling. With the intention to understand, forgive, accept, know on a more detailed level. And if we can do something about it, why worry? Just decide what to do. If you can't do something about something, how is worry going to improve the situation? It can't. So if we can change something, why worry? If we can't change something, why worry? if we can change it, we can think practically what's to be done. What's the next thing to be done? So I'll leave you finally for a few moments to think, just from this little meditation over the last few minutes, what's the next action to do? To assert a boundary, to think what your dignity needs, to just sit with a feeling and allow yourself to be more composed with that feeling. Who knows what practical action to come from it, maybe. So before we come out of this, one way we can go deeper is to say to ourselves, what's the fear below this fear? What am I really worried about? And we can look into that, and we can look deeper. So thank you for joining in tonight. A short little insight meditation practice, which we can do at any time. And it's quality, not quantity. So we can get little insights or big insights in moments, or not at all for a while. We're doing the groundwork if we're just sitting with this. So, thank you for joining in with some insight practice.